Dominic Barton, who ended up being our ambassador to China, the guy who came from China's McKinsey and Associates and who crafted Trudeau's campaign material at the very, very, very beginning of his rise to politics, says, we should actually have about 500,000 people coming into Canada every year. We should aim for 100 million. We should at least double our population, in the next generation or two.
Well, we've had more than 500,000 coming in. Right?
Yes, we have.
Yeah, by a substantial number.
We don't know how many people live in this country, Jordan.
Yeah.
We know from a recent census it's about 41 million. But on top of that, we have, for instance, over the next 12 months, 5 million people who live in Canada on various kinds of temporary permits and so on.
So it's 1/8 of the population.
Within the next 12 months, those permits expire. Then there's another between 50 and 500,000, according to the official guess of the Immigration and Refugees and Citizenship Department, who are what they call out-of-contract workers, which are undocumented workers. Now, for Americans to hear these numbers, America's 10 times as many people, it's 10 times as populous. So, just do the math, right? Yeah. If there's 5 million, if there are 50 million American or people living in the United States whose temporary permits expire within the next 12 months and who have all given every impression that they do not intend to leave.
Yes, why would they leave?
So Pierre Poilievre's coming along, right?
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about Pierre Poilievre, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier about language. And is this liberal or, what the hell? Pierre Poilievre, when he talks about housing, when he talks about employment, when he talks about access to healthcare, when he talks about wages, he's Bernie Sanders. The Americans have to understand this. Try to imagine Bernie Sanders. I mean, and also the trade union vote has gone to
the
conservatives. Gone to Poilievre. This has never happened before.
Yeah.
The working class vote has gone to Pierre Poilievre. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a partisan conservative. I don't know if I've ever written a conservative sentence in my life, by the way, although most of my friends seem to be conservatives. I don't know how that happens.
Well, the whole world's upside down, so that's not surprising.
So what the hell?
Whatever the classic political distinctions were 15 years ago, whatever they are now bears no relationship to what they were 15 years ago.
So my great fear, and I'll close with this, and you can challenge me. Tell me I'm wrong, or if you like, whatever. You can argue. I think we've got about a year or two before everything starts to come unglued. And I'm very worried about this. I've always been an optimist. I've been an inveterate optimist. But I actually haven't seen in Poilievre a degree of sophistication in comprehending the nature and the scope of what he's going to be facing when he
I don't know if he can. I don't know if he can comprehend it. I mean, I regard myself as a moderately sophisticated political observer, and you've made me more pessimistic today.
Sorry.
Well, I was already very concerned about the state of Canada because I think that, I'll give you an example, and you probably know this already, but before Justin took office, GDP per capita in Canada was approximately at parity with the US. Okay, now our richest province, Ontario, the inhabitants of our richest province by per capita GDP are poorer than the average inhabitant of Mississippi.
I thought it was Alabama. Is it Mississippi? Same.
Last thing the people in our richest province are poorer than the people in the U.S. Poorest state, right? That's a 9-year decline. It's an absolute bloody catastrophe. And we know Trudeau just announced a $62 billion deficit yesterday, which was $22 billion higher than the pessimistic estimate that his finance minister had come up with a few months ago. Whatever state we think the country is in is nowhere near as grim as the state the country's actually in. And what my fear for Poilievre is that he's going to take power in October, because I think Trudeau will hang on till then, but maybe not. We'll see. And things will be revealed to be demonstrably worse than they are on multiple dimensions. You've outlined like 6 in our discussion today, and he will be saddled with the blame. And so he'll have a 4-year term while he muddles through the absolute bloody nightmare that Trudeau has left, and then the Liberals are connive their way back into power.
No, that's never going to happen.
Okay, so you're less pessimistic on that front than
yeah.
me.
I mean, well, the
let's say.
Liberals might, but it might be some iteration of a Liberal Party that older Canadians are more familiar with.
Yes, I think the probability, like the most likely outcome in an October election in 2025, is that the Liberals are essentially decimated.
Well, their history.
They could remember after the Mulroney government collapsed, essentially, I think the Progressive Conservatives were reduced to 3 seats federally, right? That could easily happen.
Here's an interesting story. Everybody, you find this a lot, this sort of speculation about, this Trump thing, could it happen in Canada? Right-wing populism, yada, yada. Everyone wets their pants. Oh, my God, not here. Well, it actually did happen here, and it happened back then, and it was the Reform Party.
Yeah, that's also happening in the UK. You know that Farage fashioned his party after the Reform Party in Canada.
Well,
right?
one of the things I think Conservatives should remember about the Reform Party is the result of the Reform Party was they reduced the Conservatives to 3. And they ushered in a decade of Liberal rule. So good luck to you, lads.
Yeah.
Canadians, I think, are, and this is something I also want to stress. The overwhelming majority of Canadians are not anti-Semites.
Oh, definitely not. Yes.
I would say probably the overwhelming majority of Muslims are not anti-Semites. Although that's hard to say. I referred to.
It also depend to some degree on how you phrase the question.
That's right. Mm-hmm. In fact, I referred to a study of Muslim public opinion.
Yeah.
And it was actually the proportion of Muslims who agreed to answer a particular question about suicide bombing and about whether or not the state of Israel should be allowed to exist. Mm-hmm. That was, it was pretty high. Do you remember there was a big debate about 6 years ago about Islamophobia?
Oh, yes.
In Canada, there was going to be there was going to be law, there was going to be statutory reform to sort of outlaw Islamophobia.
Yeah, another hate crime.
The Liberals refused to define what they actually meant by Islamophobia.
You define that sort of thing after the fact.
Yeah, and you would hear the Liberals say that every day, Muslims in Canada are subjected to racist abuse and intimidation, that sort of thing. And I remember, because I'm a complete public opinion poll nerd, data is the thing. I need to give me the data. Everybody's opinion, who cares? Give me the data. And public opinion back then showed that the overwhelming majority of, Muslims in Canada were actually demonstrated a higher degree of pride in their country than what you might call old stock Canadians. Mm-hmm. And the main complaint that Muslims had about Canada was it's so damn cold here. Mm-hmm. Nobody was worried about, nobody was
perfectly
freaking
valid complaint, by the way.
It's just, I think we have to be very, very, very careful about understanding the nature of the problem. And we have to be very careful about the words that we use, the language that we use. And we all use these words that kind of euphemisms, left-wing or progressive. Are you kidding me? What is progressive about the phenomena that we end up describing as progressive? How is this in any way in aid of human progress or civilizational progress? It's reactionary. It's regressive. It's not liberal.